Hi everyone, Terri Bemis here with WaterSong Creek Creations. Hope everybody's doing well today, ready to tackle something new. I have a couple of big projects, actually 3. I'm doing windows right now, and I'm not sure how it's all going to fit in the frame to video, but I'm going to give it a shot. I've got 2 windows that are 2 panes. These are about the same size. This one's slightly smaller. I have painted them. I've cleaned off the glass with alcohol. You can use Windex or whatever. I just like the way alcohol cleans the glass real well. I put a bead of hot glue around the seam, but for extra measure, I went ahead and used painter's tape on the back to keep any drips that might get through from coming through. And then I have these cute little fish I picked up at a shop. It's a little florist shop in Kentucky. This was a wind chime, and I took it apart. I just thought I loved the colors. I thought they were so fun. So these little guys are going to be swimming across the ocean on a bunch of crushed glass and seashells. And then the other window I have that's identical. I love these guys. Have you seen these guys at Hobby Lobby? I think these are so eclectic and fun. They're just out there. So same thing. I'm gonna have these guys swimming across in some crushed glass and shellfish. So those are the 2 of the projects. And then I have this fun turtle that I also got at Hobby Lobby, and I like all the holes. And what I plan to do with him, I have a 3rd window down here on the floor. It's drying. I just painted some of the, it was distressed. It was very, very distressed. And I wanted these to be cleaner looking. So that's on the floor drying, but it's a single window. It doesn't have any panes in it. I can't talk today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put crushed glass in each of these holes and just make them really sparkly and fun. And then I'll probably do seashells. I might even do mica powder around him. I don't know. I'm going to play with it a little bit and see. But yep, we're back in the ocean today. So I'm going to figure out a camera angle where I can try and get this scope of things recorded, and be right back. Of course, as always, I'm going to be using my ProGlas 1000 resin. Wouldn't use anything else. The only resin I use, I suggest you try it. You can get it at fiberglasswarehouse.com or on Amazon. And this stuff is great. No VOCs, dries crystal clear, rock hard, wonderful resin. So we'll be using that. I've got my PPE, my torch, my heat gun, all the things you need. Don't forget the gloves. And I'm gonna go figure out some camera angles, and we'll be back in a few. All right, here we go. I don't know how great this camera angle is gonna be once I edit it. And sometimes it makes the image smaller than it appears to me when I'm recording. So I'll apologize now if some of this is cut off, but I'm gonna stay to the center as much as possible while I record. These have got copper, and it's kind of hard to see in the light, but there's some copper on there and the blue along with some gold. And this one is pink and a variety of greens, and some that almost looks red. So I have a dark green, kind of a neutral, it's not really a caramel color, but it's a, well, you can see from here, it's a much lighter than a pink. It's almost a sand color. Of the crushed glass, I've got a light, a very dark, and a medium color blue crushed glass. And my seashells, I've got a bag of some medium-sized seashells that I'll place around. think I'm going to make kind of an ocean floor here of seashells and glass. So play with that a little bit. Well, I can tell already I'm going to be mixing in a little bit of blue just to make it look more ocean-like. At this point, I decided I wanted kind of an ocean floor on the top pane and the bottom pane. It just didn't look balanced with just the seashells on the bottom pane. So I grabbed a variety of sizes and just scattered them about, added the colored crushed abalone shells so that the two would have an even look top and bottom. I grabbed some of the colored little glass round pieces like you can get at the Dollar Tree or the craft stores. I used blue, pink, and green. I also put some pearls around. I like the pearls at Hobby Lobby because they don't have holes in them. They're in the wedding section, and they look really nice on these kind of pieces. And from here, I'm just going to spend a lot of time tweaking, really, adding color where there needs to be color. I was trying to keep the pink and the blue even on the top and the bottom. I wanted it to be filled in but not completely covered. If I'd wanted a completely covered look, I would have used mica powder, but I wanted some of the light to show through in the back. And here I'm going to mix up some of my ProGlas 1000 resin. I mixed 22 ounces for this project. I kind of speeded up and skipped, but I always mix for 3.5 minutes. The first 2 minutes I mix in a warm water bath. That makes the resin, which is the thicker of the two parts, it thins it out a little bit so you don't have as much trouble with bubbles. And when I finished mixing for the 3.5 minutes, I poured 11 ounces into a second cup. I did that because when you have a large volume of resin, it's going to get warmer quicker and it's going to cure faster. So I separated the amount I was going to use on the bottom pane and the amount on the top pane. So just think about that when you're mixing large amounts. Pour it into several smaller containers, and that will give you a longer working life or a longer work span. When I started drizzling the resin around, I covered the perimeter first. I wanted to get the seashells all adhered together. So I used the largest concentration of resin on the seashells because they were stacked up and not just level. So and then I went around the edges to make sure that the resin was up against the glass, or up against the frame all the way around on the glass. And then I went in and filled in the perimeter. One of the things about filling in the seashells first, they were a higher spot on the art piece, and the resin will run down. So that kind of helps fill in. Once I was sure I had everything covered, then I went back in and I put my 2 focal points in. I did not want the resin over those. I wanted them to have that metallic look, and they had a nice shine to them anyway. So I didn't want the resin to mute that, cover it up any, and take away from that. So so I added those after the fact. And as long as just a few parts are touching the resin, then it's going to be very securely on the piece. Once I'd finished putting the resin down, I went around the frame and cleaned up any of the drips that had fallen. And then I'm going to turn the window in several different directions here in just a minute, because it was such a large piece. I didn't feel like I could see everything from one angle or one side. So I turned the window in all directions and make sure everything was covered. And as you see, I found some spots where there was not resin. So this is just kind of a final cleanup once you've got everything poured. Always look at your piece from all directions because there could have been some resin up on the frame, and always looking for the missed spots. So once I was pleased with that, I went back and filled in a few spots that looked empty, gave it a final torch, and left it to dry for 24 hours. So here's the finished window. It turned out so pretty. As I said, I got these 2 fish on one of my travels in Kentucky, and they were part of a wind chime. And I knew as soon as I saw them that they would look so great on a window. And I just love how the abalone shell chips and the little colored glass beads go so nicely and pick up all the color in the fish. It's just those little subtle things that bring a piece together so nicely. The windows are so popular right now, and they're very available. They seem to be everywhere, or at least where I am. They're very readily available. I would just say put strong hooks on the back and anchor it into the wall really well. Another option is to put it on an easel, maybe sitting inside a fireplace, or even on a mantle. All right, I hope I've inspired you to create something beautiful today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.